Oh man, after raining pretty much all week, it is humid here in Alabama, I'll tell you that much. What I've got today is I've got to do a lot of maintenance after all that rain came by. I'm going to check all the plants, check on the animals. We're actually going to work and do a lot of cool projects today. But one of those is we've got some bugs that are eating a lot of our leaves and some slugs that are causing some slug damage. So we're about to take control of our property and we're about to get these bugs. When I say the word slug, okay, I don't know what comes to your brain, but to me, just disgusting, oozy, grossy, wormy thing comes to my brain, and I don't like them at all. But the main reason I don't like them is because they eat on my plants, okay? A slug or a snail can cause a lot of damage. And what they love is they love the nighttime because it's cool, and they love a wet environment. So after it rains, you might see some slugs. If you have like a trash can that's got some old cardboard in it, you'll see them hiding up under the wet flaps of the cardboard. You know, so any kind of wet area is going to be good for them and they're going to thrive in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to set a trap for them. We're going to basically bury a mason jar down into the ground, almost up to the rim, and we're going to pour some beer in it. And we're going to let that beer kind of happen, and over the next couple nights we're going to watch it and see how many slugs we can catch. See, in college, I never really paid much attention. That's why I actually ended up dropping out and not finishing. But one thing I did get was a PhD, which is fantastic, a Posthole Digger. What I've done is I've used that to dig a small hole. And I've actually got this mason jar here. This is just like a normal pint mason jar. And I've buried it in the ground. And what I'm going to do is kind of use some of this dirt and kind of help kind of fill in some of those holes. And I put some wood chips on around it. And what we'll do is, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I have poured a little bit of some beer in there. I don't drink beer very much, but went by Walmart and got us a little bit of beer to use to try to get these slugs. What they do, they like the yeasty smell of the beer, so they will actually get pretty curious and they'll crawl into the jar. But they will get stuck down in there and they'll drown. So I've seen videos of guys that are dumping out 5, 10, 15 slugs every night. So we're gonna see how many we catch. Man, it feels better under the shade tree, I tell you that. Well, another thing we're gonna do is, I've got some eggshell that we've saved from our ladies back here, and we're actually going to crush those up really good and kind of surround some of our plants that the slugs are getting to. With the crushed up eggshell, and what that does is they don't like to crawl over it because it's sharp and it can puncture and cut the slug. So the slugs and snails don't like that, so they actually won't cross that barrier. That's good for plants that are up off the ground a little bit, like your pepper plants or your tomato plants, things like that, that aren't actually vining and covering the ground. It's good to put those eggshells around them so that the snails can't actually slide up the plant. So some of you guys might be thinking, well, why don't you just pour salt all over the place? Because salt does kill slugs and snails, but it can also damage plants. And it's kind of draws out moisture from the plant. It can really help kill plants that you like. So I would not recommend just pouring a bunch of salt everywhere. I'm going to put a little link up on the video up here to let you guys see a video of some all-natural weed killer that I made utilizing salt, vinegar, and a little bit of soap. And it'll kind of showcase why I don't want to use salt to combat these slugs. Hey girl. My goodness, you trying to eat the cage? Alright, here's something else to look at. Okay, these are my carrots. You can see I've got a small little half row of carrots growing. But what has happened, the storm has blew a lot of my stuff over. And some of these carrots are actually touching the ground here. Well, this is actually just begging for slugs and snails to come on and take over and eat that. So what you want to do is, as you're pruning and going through your gardening, is you want to take any kind of thing that is touching the ground that shouldn't and kind of prune it back a little bit. We can feed that to the rabbits and to the chickens and give them some nice little snacks. And also it'll kind of keep the garden beds nice and clean. Alright guys, so I'm going to take you inside the house and kind of show you how I make my little bug spray. It's not a bug killer necessarily, but it's more of a bug repellent. And what we do is we spray the leaves of the plants. You have to spray it, and then after it rains you have to kind of respray. But it's all natural, and it's made from stuff that we have on site that we don't have to go buy. And it's a beautiful spray. So I'm going to take you inside and show you how we make that. Alrighty guys, kettle on. I got a quart of water coming to a boil. And over here I've got some cayenne pepper. Of course my good old trusty jug there.
And I'm a monster.
And she's a monster. She's building slime and doing all kind of stuff. So this is some pure Castile soap. It's got peppermint flavor in it. And then we have this, which is the rest of an onion that we aren't going to use. So it's almost a whole onion. And about 6 or 7 cloves of garlic that came fresh out of the garden. And we're going to make some bug spray. Alrighty. Look at that beautiful garlic right out the garden. This is a pretty easy recipe, and it's very useful for spraying plants with to keep bugs off. The only thing is, if it does rain, you will want to reapply, and I guess that's the only downside. So I've got about a whole onion, about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of cayenne pepper into the mix, and then we'll pour the water over. This is going to smell pretty weird, but it'll work good. Here's my quart of water. I'm going to stir that. I'm going to let that steep for probably about an hour. And then we'll add a couple drops of the Castile soap. Alright guys. Put about maybe 10 drops in there. Alright. And when that finishes cooling down, we'll put it in my spray bottle and we'll go spray some plants. Luckily, through the power of editing and not showing you everything, I actually strained off all of the onion, garlic, and all that good stuff, and I actually put it in my little spray bottle here, and I labeled it bug control. Because remember, it's not really a bug killer, it's more of a bug deterrent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my plants. Alright, well there you go guys. That was really fun. It was easy, and it was pretty much free, just using stuff that I already had in my house. Whip you up a batch, try it out, and leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think. Is there something you would add, something you would take away, maybe a different way of doing it? You know, please let me know. It's been working well for me. Haven't had a whole lot of pest damage, just natural stuff, and stuff that happens just because it does. I mean, they're animals, they're creatures, they're insects. You know, they're gonna go ahead and try to eat something. I don't blame them, but we just don't want them to eat our gardens. So go ahead and try it out and give me your thoughts on it. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, just hit the subscribe button down there, and you can follow me. I do about a video or 2 each week and just talk about, you know, permaculture, farming, gardening, and basically taking this blank canvas of a yard and house that I have and turning it into a beautiful thing to grow food for my family and do it in a natural way.